Hey guys, it's April from the community. I'm here at Holy City Brewing, and I'm here to tell you about an event that we have on Thursday, April 17th from 4 to 6. It's an open bar tab of $250, and we're asking you to come and drink the last few kegs of the Taranga with us. So when you come and drink the Taranga free on us, all we ask is that you come back and buy a 4-pack of the community Taranga beer. $2 of that beer will go to the MJF Scholarship. So you ask, what's the MJF Scholarship? Well, it's a scholarship that was started by Garrett Oliver. It's in order to help people, BIPOC people of brewers and distillers, to further their education in the community and in the industry. So all we ask is you come Thursday, April 17th from 4 to 6 to come drink the Taranga on the community. Cheers.
Good evening and welcome to Being Black and Craft, where we don't apologize for recognizing our influence on craft beer. This is Angie, the undeniable vixen, your host. We have a great guest tonight, but let's go ahead and get into some beer news. I hope that if you're in the area in Carolinas, stop by the community to get some of that brew. I was really excited to see that April did a little commercial for us, and we'll be talking about that a little bit more in our outro. But let's start with some beer news. So first up, if you kind of remember going way back in Clubhouse days. We had the mayor, Kendrick. He's featured there in the second person that's in the black shirt, the Pine Exchange. So it's that time again with the success. Last year, we had to bring it back, a collaboration with Balson Brewing and the Pine Exchange and Crafty Brothers, and an added twist. So the name of the beer is called Strongly Related Volume 2. It's going to be a West Coast IPA with OG Kush terpenes. So sounds really interesting. I'm sure he's getting ready because it's the day before 420. If you know, you know. If you indulge, you indulge. So if you're in the Houston area, stop by Belson Brewing on 419 starting at 1 o'clock. And then they're going to have music between 3 to 8 o'clock. Then got a drop in my email that Barrel and Flow, of course, is happening, going to be in August, and they finally announced who is going to be collaborating, who's going to be on stage as far as the Black brewers that are going to be there. So lots of fun people that you know, Black Viking, Brockton, Delview, of course, friends of the show, Crafted Culture Brewing, Soul Mega, Vine Street, War Cloud, Hannah with Dope Cider, which is going to be great. And then they also have a lot of collabs that are going to be really interesting. If you don't follow Barrel and Flow and you're hoping to check them out and see what's going on, make sure you give them a follow. Keep them in your prayers. Right now, Day and some of the crew are in Barcelona showing people how we do it here in the United States as far as making brew and cider and wine. So congratulations to them, and hopefully they'll have a safe trip home and have lots of stories to tell us about how that collaboration with Spain went. Then I'll keep on talking about it. So join me. It will be on June 19th, Juneteenth. I'm going to be talking live about being a brand ambassador. So something that I talk about that is one of my loves. I've been doing it for over 10 years. And people always ask me, how do I get into it? How it's lucrative, some ins and outs. And one thing that I can definitely tell you is that being a brand ambassador, you don't get trained for it. It's on the job training, and it's kind of a little bit of know-how being a self-starter. So I can give you those different tools that you need that you probably don't know. And so you don't have to have any pitfalls, and you can be immaculate at the very start when you become a brand ambassador. Then I wanted to also talk about one of the other things I'll be talking about here and there during up until June about Crafted for Action, because there's so many different things that are going on for Crafted for Action and so many activities. One activity that I wanted to let people know about is Balance and Brew. So they're going to be doing yoga along with a beer pairing. And Lifting Lucy is a proud sponsor of Balance and Brew. So we were able to provide some equipment for the event, for the yoga demonstration that they're going to have. And so I just wanted to really give a shout out to Crafted for Action. Jen and her team is doing great things. And I also wanted to shout out Lifting Lucy for their continued support in making things happen when things are not able to happen. Lifting Lucy always seems to find money, some kind of way to make things happen for people that are women of color, women and non-binary women, people of color. So thank you, Lifting Lucy, for that. And that's all my news. Got choked up there. So let me go ahead and bring up my guest. Hey, Vi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Awesome. So, let's see. You've been busy. You've been excited.
Yeah, I'm
And
always busy.
I guess I want to maybe give people a little bit of information as far as if they weren't able to catch you the first time that you've been on the show, where you are, your and what you do. Just an overview. So,
Okay. Well, today I'm tuning in from Northern Virginia. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia, and I have been going up and down the East Coast for work for about the past 13 years now. I am an artist first. I mainly work with visual art, so graphic designs, paint mediums, different things like that, clothing. This isn't my brand. This is a brand out of one of the DEI slash companies Target, but we are representing this Black-owned brand right here today. I do that a lot. I consider myself a Black business incubator. I'm also half Asian, so I advocate for Asian community as well. And you and I connected, I think, maybe a year or so ago when I was launching my non-alcoholic brand, Southern Spirits, which is a distillery. We are making non-alcoholic spirits to celebrate sobriety. I've been sober for about 7 years now, and right now we are selling a non-alcoholic whiskey as well as a non-alcoholic wine.
okay, well, we're going to dive into a little bit more some reason behind the NA and really the blow up of NA being an option and people going to why are you doing that, or from why are you doing that to where can I get it?
Where can I get it? Yeah. Yes,
So
ma'am.
okay, um, and we have Beware Fashions, and then we have Southern Distillery,
Southern
right?
Spirits, yep. Southern
Southern
Spirits is
Distillery.
its own business, yes, ma'am,
Yes.
and it focuses on non-alcoholic spirits. And I also have another company called Beware Designs, which is my flagship graphic design company that I've had since 2008. So we do a lot of things at Beware Designs. Right now, we're focusing on uplifting and empowering the Black and Brown community and curating art shows.
So if Beware Designs was a mixtape,
Hmm.
what three songs would be on it, and what kind of mood would it set when you walk into the room?
What kind of movie?
What kind of mood? What kind of
What kind
mood
of mood?
would it when you walk into the room? What kind of mood would it set with those three songs?
Definitely 90s culture for sure. 90s R&B and rap culture. I would say the first song would be Brown Sugar, D'Angelo. I grew up on the movie Brown Sugar. I wanted to be, chief editor of Double XL magazine, like Sanaa Lathan. And, I love 80s, 90s, love movies. So, yeah, it would definitely be all of that. I don't know if I could pick two other songs, but that would be the vibe.
Okay, okay. So I was seeing that you were doing pancakes and booze, which apparently that is something that kind of travels around. Um,
Yes.
are you doing, is that also the same place where you're doing the live art? Were you doing, or were you, or is that two different things that I was seeing?
Two different things.
Okay.
So yeah, so as I mentioned right now, with Beware Designs, I'm currently focusing on my art, being immersed in the art industry, uplifting other artists, and collaborating with other curators. So this past week, I just was a part of Pancakes and Booze, which is a traveling art show.
Mhm.
They are currently in Houston, I believe, so they're out in your neck of woods. They were in DC last weekend. It was a great turnout. It was like over 300 artists were out there. I did some live painting at that event. And this coming weekend, I'll be in New Haven, Connecticut, which is where I founded Southern Spirits.
Mhm.
So I have a business partner out there that is curating a 420 event on 419.
Mhm.
And I will be the live art instructor there.
So when you're doing something live,
Mhm.
um, is it in the moment is when you're thinking, okay, this is what I'm going to do, or is it the ambiance and the spirit and the energy that you're getting? That's what, how you're painting it. What how would you start that?
It depends. It depends on if I'm curating the event, if we were asked to come and curate the event, or if it's a collaboration. So, for this one in particular, it'll be a piece that I personally come up with before the show.
Okay.
I'll usually pre-stencil the canvases. So, for instance, if I were to pick like a hop, I would do an outline of a hop and then I would have a certain color palette for that canvas. That way, when
Mhm.
people come, we already kind of have a concept. But because I very much believe in live art, very much believe it's a healing experience for the individual, I would allow them to pick their color palette. So I may have like 7 colors, and then I'll say, I'm going to use green, and I will walk them through sort of, a 90s instructional video of the live painting, I would do that and just give them the feeling. Hey, I want to use green today because I'm feeling earthy. I really want to accent the orange that I'm wearing, so I'm going to use this color. And I would guide them through the painting, and then we would all paint, similar versions of a hop, but they would all be different because I'm allowing them to choose their color palette. Versus if I were doing, for instance, a Cowboys game or something like that, and they wanted a Cowboys emblem to be what we paint, they would have 3 colors, and then we would all walk through it. It would be the same variation probably of that emblem. So those are just two different examples of how I can do a live painting.
Okay. That sounds really interesting. I wondered how freehand, but yeah, just the having at least like a guide um seems really smart. I can't. All I can do is stick figures, so
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good
Listen,
at it.
we can get you going. We can get some facial features there when I get the template out for you.
The last time that I did anything like that, I did. I went to this thing. It was I don't know what it was called, but it was basically it was nude. There were nude men, and
Mhm.
they were models and I was like, okay, this is fine, because okay, I've seen naked men before. It's fine, but the women were going on. I thought we were. I was like, should I have brought some wands or something? Because the women were going nuts. They were losing their
Yeah.
mind, and like she was like, she did like saying, make sure that you don't touch, don't grab, don't pull, don't. And I was like, don't put. She was like, don't put anything in my. I said, wait, hold on, what? And then I understood when they came out. I understood why she had to sell because
Mhm.
they went
Yeah.
they had went there. They had went there. It was just like so crazy. But this concept seems a little bit more doable. Your concept a little bit more doable.
Well, I don't know. You knew what you signed up for when you went to that event too. So it's different flavors, different strokes for different folks.
Ah, one time. So, um, if you could turn an outfit into a mural, what would it be? Loud, bold, public art. What would it scream to the world?
Oh man, if I could turn an outfit into a mural, see, I think that would touch on a lot of different mediums for me. So I would love to say something just super trendy, like denim, but it would probably have to be upcycled material that looks like denim
Mhm.
because of the other aspect of me, the geek in me is like I would want it to be sustainable and also make a really big statement. So I love playing with textures in my art. So I think that's what I would do. I would take some recycled bottle materials and interweave them and make them sculpt them to where they look like denim, a big denim, maybe like a black woman wearing a denim jacket. So it would be, again, homage to that 90s culture. But it would look like denim from afar, but when you get up close, you would be able to tell that it's recycled bottles. And I would want that in the middle of a city somewhere to call out people littering and, encourage people to recycle.
Mm.
Reimagine recycling. We can make art out of it.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. That sounds amazing. I would like to see that.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would
Hey,
like
I
to
might
see
need to
that.
write that down. That is a good
Yeah,
concept.
yeah, because I could see
Yeah.
that, like, being taken as far as like what I forgot, what I can't think of the word, when you're basically asked to do something, uh curated something, and for a big city like New York, where they need to know about recycling, just like
Hmm.
any big city, really. I shouldn't have talked about New York so bad, because Dallas is ain't no better. But yeah, I can see that, and then having that coming up closer and seeing what it was. That's very intriguing. Um, is there a piece or something that you have worked with that you was like, "Ooh, I'm working with it now, but I probably won't work with this no more. This particular thing is just too difficult to work with."
Mm. As far as clothing or
Yeah, as far as
anything.
clothing or anything. Yeah.
I think with clothing, I do similar work to like how this is right here, screen printed onto a shirt. I do like screen print. I use heat transfer vinyl, and sometimes you get brands or different materials that don't really adhere well to fabric. Um, so my mind was on denim, and I was thinking about this denim commission I did where I used paint, and then I also had some heat vinyl, and the
Mhm.
vinyl I was using was a metallic finish. But when you try to heat up the denim to a certain temp and make it adhere, make the vinyl adhere to the denim, it really did not want to take. So
Mhm.
without me ruining the denim, I pretty much had to press it for like 2 hours straight, just off and on, 15-minute intervals, trying to get that vinyl onto the material. And I was thinking to myself, I will never do this combination again. So certain vinyls on denim specifically, I cannot do it. I'm very particular now when people come to me for commissions for denim.
Okay. Okay. Um, let's see. So fashion is texture, flavors is a sensation. Like, how do you see this creative process, from like clothing to also your non-alcoholic spirits? How could you see that being an akin to, let's say, jazz?
Mm. Oh, I love that. To me, they're all different languages. You know what I mean? They're all spoken word of communication. Um, and by that I mean I don't look at them any differently. They're all very similar to me. I think that the businesses I have, they really are true to what I'm experiencing in life at that time. So, again, I have started maybe two or three businesses in the last 2 years, but I've always had Beware Designs. and it has different subsets. So I do clothing, I do websites, I do logos, I do murals, I do paintings, I do decor, but that's all design. And I think that the spirit is the same. You know, when you talk about fashion, what inspires me to do some of the lines that I have in between helping other people build their lines is, of course, the movements that we pass through in life. The Black Lives Matter movement was what started my original clothing line, Mixed Melanin. And I started that because I had so many brands coming to me, wanting me to build their brand for them. I would make their designs and then I would make suggestions. And my mother told me, "You're giving them the clothing line. Why don't you just make your own clothing line?" You know, so I
Mhm.
made it, but it was more so a message that I had as well. I also, as a brown person, was going through things and I wanted that message to be conveyed properly. So that's what inspired me to start the line. And then the spirits came about because I wanted to support a black owned brand during Black History Month, and there were no non-alcoholic spirit companies that were brown. Not even just black. They weren't brown. There were none of them that were brown. And this was back in 2022. So this was very recent. Now, if you Google them, I mean, there's a lot of them. There's like 30. You know, I don't know how many of them have the story that I have, but what
Mhm.
makes my brand different is I think number one, the inception, which is what I just shared with you, but then the intent behind it. I'm not just, contacting a bottle company, purchasing a label, and then slapping mine on it. Everything that I have is hand sourced ingredients. They're all natural. I made sure that I did the time to learn how to distill them. So just the whiskey in itself is an art. I loved whiskey when I did drink, so it was very important to me that the NA spirit tasted like whiskey. And then with that, you have flavor of the colors that you choose, the labels, how you present it, how you market it, the bottle. All of that to me is art, and that is what makes my spirit special to me.
Yeah, when we talked, I think it was the rosewater. Is the rosewater the one that you use that's also used with crystals?
Crystals, yes, it
So tell
is.
us more
Yep.
about that. Tell us more about the rosewater.
Okay, so I actually got the concept from this other brand by the name of Rock Grace. There was a woman that I was currently working with to acquire her business, which was a new lane for me, and she made a non-alcoholic spirit by the name of Rock Grace. She had a rose water, which I also had a rose water recipe for myself, and hers was charged with crystals. So the concept is, again, the crystals are inside of the distiller as they're brewing it, and it charges basically the energy from the crystal into her rose water. Hers was a non-alcoholic wine alternative, so she wasn't marketing it as a wine. It was more water. And then mine came from a rose water recipe from my partner, who I have a company with called Haraya Gems. We do crystals, we wrap crystals. So it was a really good, play when I a clue that her brand was like that. When I did the first meeting for the acquisition, I found this out and it seemed like it was a very good fit. Um, so learning that about the crystals that I could use it in the spirit, it inspired me to want to use it for my brand. Ultimately, we ended up parting ways. I didn't end up acquiring her company because there were just too many things that I wanted to tweak with the recipe. It didn't mesh well with my rose water recipe I already had. But
Mhm.
the concept from the crystals, I actually ended up working with the crystal worker that she had, and we continued to develop my own spirit. So it was definitely a learning experience, but I think that that's the beauty of it as well.
Yeah, so it's so interesting to me. I know this much, and I think I'm probably not even good at that about crystals. So with the crystal, as you're manufacturing more or gaining more, are you using the same crystal, like the same crystal? Um, are you using different crystals for that one? Like each iteration, is it a different crystal, or is it the same one that's just being recharged?
That's a great question. So I can give you the briefness about crystals that I can give you. Because again, I work in jewelry making. My partner, who is a Reiki master, and she comes from a family of jewelry makers and crystal workers. So she's very, very versed in that. That's not my expertise, but I do know enough about it to speak to it. So I'll give you what I can. So there's certain crystals that help you channel certain energies. For instance, with the rose water. The first batch that I did was charged with ruby. I chose ruby because that is my birthstone. I was born in July, and I really wanted to pay homage to that. There's also a lot of research that shows that ruby helps with grounding energy, so I wanted to use that for the first recipe as well. And essentially, we ethically sourced the crystal from the crystal worker. We got that crystal. We cleared it with Florida water, which is the base for the rose water recipe.
Mhm.
And I won't go too deep into the recipe. I can't give out all the secrets, but essentially, if you come from a family that's from the South, or even just know how to make natural drinks, you may be familiar with Florida water. Usually we use it for cleansing homes and things like that. It smells like you can drink it. And so I got the idea. I wonder if we can tweak it and turn it into, the rose water. And we do that. So the ruby is what we're using for rose water. And it's just one crystal. It's a large crystal. Take that, put it into the distiller, and then we are basically using it similar to the barrel is basically putting the whiskey into the barrel. It pulls the flavor out. The crystal is doing the same thing, but it's also giving it an energetic charge. So yeah, I think that's pretty much like what I can say about that. If you have any other questions, I can go a little deeper on any of those topics.
No, that's really good. That lets me know how it's, how the process goes, because I really wasn't really sure at all. I just thought that it was just interesting, just the whole concept of thinking. That's the first time I've ever heard of anyone using crystals to, as far as like charging something in something that is something to drink. I've
Hmm.
never known anything like that before. So I thought that that was really interesting. Um, but
Yeah,
let's,
homage to Anne Grace. That was all her.
well, let me play a quick game with you. So this is going to be rapid fire. It's going to be either or, and it's not nothing hard. Just kind of seeing where your mind is. So,
All right.
runway or speakeasy,
Speak easy.
mocktail in a champagne glass or a cocktail in a coffee mug,
Mocktail.
velvet or sequence. Which one screams, I've arrived?
Velvet.
Velvet. Slow sip, excuse me, sip slow or dance fast.
Sip slow.
Killer playlist or flawless outfit?
Playlist.
And this is just a question, which I forgot. You can wear only one color for a year. What is it?
Blue.
What would you rather design? A Grammy red carpet look or the perfect bar lounge interior?
Bar lounge interior all day.
Okay. What's the last song you danced to like no one was watching?
I just danced to it before I let go while I was cooking tonight. So yeah, I was doing the
That's a
electric
good
slide
one.
in the kitchen.
Yes. Okay. Dream collab, Beyonce on the runway or Rihanna in your tasting room?
Rihanna.
All right. And what is your go-to Omnet outfit?
Mm, dang. I think I would have to go with a nice suit. A nice suit. I won't even limit it, but it'd be a nice suit with a fedora and some cowboy boots.
Okay, 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 okay,
Yeah.
okay. Um, let's see. Would you rather host a rooftop fashion show or a candlelit mocktail night with live jazz?
That's a hard one, but I had to go with the second one. Yeah.
Okay, 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 okay. More unforgettable is a well fit blazer or a well balanced pour.
The blazer.
Okay. Designing while vibing to trap beats or neo soul.
I think it depends on the day. It depends on what I'm designing too. But I'll go with
Okay.
Neo Soul. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Thank you for playing. Huh. My phone is just ringing off the hook. It's like, I'm live. I'm live. Hold on. So, we talked about the rose water. Tell me about the other NA. You have a whiskey. You have? Do you
I
have
do.
three? Or do you have two?
I have two. I have a peach whiskey and then I have the rose water.
Ooh, how peachy is the peach whiskey?
It's not that peachy, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those flavors that is really sweet. So a lot
Mhm.
of people, I found during like the testing phase, they were really wary of tasting it. They were like, "Oh, I don't really like peach stuff. I don't know, it might be too strong." But the peach is really subtle.
Okay.
Again, I spent way more time on making sure there was an authentic whiskey taste than I did tweaking the peach. And it was just because the peach is just something I use to bring out more flavor, similar to the oak and clove. It's not something that overpowers the drink like a peace tea. You know what I mean? It's not Arizona tea or anything. It's
Mhm.
whiskey, and then it has a peach essence to it.
Okay. Okay. That's light and subtle. So since you've gone through this experience of creating an NA product, um, how difficult do you think or challenging it was? Um, because I think people don't know, um, as far as they have a little bit of knowledge as far as distilling, period, but then doing a trick on top of that, making it NA. How how was it for you starting doing that process?
Oh my gosh, it was really difficult. It was very difficult. I actually ran into a lot of hurdles. I don't know if you remember when I was telling you, but I had no intentions on starting this business. I wanted for someone to make it for me. I thought there might have been a company that made spirits already that could just do this version of it, like the peach whiskey.
Mhm.
And I really was trying to give someone the idea. I ran into a woman by the name of Alyssa, who owns Rhythm and
Yeah,
Blues,
listen.
and yeah, she was talking to me about it, and she basically offered to mentor me to learn how to start my own company. And so um, in the very beginning phase of it, because she has an actual alcoholic beer, it was a little more her mentoring me on the business side than it was trying to figure out how to do the thing. So she was coaching me through the times when I would reach a wall and then I had nowhere to go, so we would have those type of sessions. And I really appreciate her for that because there were so many times when I thought I should just stop. I was like, okay, it doesn't exist. It would take a lot of funding. I'm probably not going to be able to do it. And I would just kind of give up for
Mhm.
about a week. Then we would meet and she would encourage me again and I would get back at it. So, I mean, reaching out to so many people like Uncle Nearest, Highway Vodka, there was a lot of black owned companies that make their own stuff. And so I reached out to them first with the idea asking, can we do a collaboration? Can you do a private label for me? Nobody was doing non-alcoholic. So I had to learn how to do it myself. Fast forward, what made the turning key for me was actually I went to a Yale Innovation Summit, and there they were doing a lot of pitches. I heard a lot of different companies raising funds and also pitching their beverage companies. And I realized that I didn't need capital. I needed a person who could help me with the idea. And that was when I met Jamal, who owns Cedar Park in New Haven. It
Hmm.
is yeah, it's a nonprofit basically for Black and Brown brewers. Alyssa is one of the founders of it as well. And so when I met Jamal, it really took off because even though he wasn't working in the non-alcoholic industry, he had a lot of different insights that I didn't have on how to break into the industry, how to
Hmm.
tackle those hurdles, who to partner with. And those things really helped me get the momentum, in addition to talking to the owner of Rock Race, who, helped start the adult non-alcoholic beverage community. So those resources right there is what got me to this point for sure. And, I'm really grateful for that.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. It's good to hear people that I recognize in the industry helping out. That's really great.
Hmm.
Wow. So fast forward, you're doing a thing. So where do you see yourself? Are you or these two products iterations are going to be going forward for a while, or have you thought about doing something else, or rather adding to it?
I do think that I will probably be adding to it. Right now, I am focusing a lot on my art. So I haven't been pushing Southern Spirits as I as I would if it were only business. I call all of my businesses my babies because they require that level of care from me. And I have Southern Spirits in a very good place to take a pause. So
Mhm.
what I'm doing with it right now is focusing on production, where I want to distribute it, focusing on investors, and then probably around the fall of this year or early next year, I'm going to do another big push for January. And yeah, I'm making some connections here in DC right now that I think are really going to help expand the brand. But outside of that, I'm just making sure that the product stays true, and that I'm not out here doing, quick runs because I don't start anything that I don't plan on finishing or keeping under my belt. So, like a child, I view it as something that will continue to grow.
Mhm. That's good. That's really good. Yep, January is always gearing by December. Start gearing up for dry January. And just like speaking about dry January, knowing that there is people are starting to look for alternatives uh, past January, and knowing that there is something out there for them uh, makes it even better. So, if someone is wanting to get a hold of some rosewater or some peach whiskey, how can they do that?
Right now, you can go onto my Instagram at Southern Spirits Distillery. You can send me a DM. You can click that link in the bio, go to the website, southernspiritsdistilleries.com. Or you could reach out to me personally, or, this beautiful woman right here, she could get you to me because I definitely am still selling the products. As I mentioned, I am just gaining new acquisitions. But for small batches, I can definitely be available. Baby showers and that. So yeah, hoping to be on Total Wine, actually, but right now we are distributing.
That's awesome. I'm really excited for you, and knowing that this is has come to fruition because I remember when you were talking about it and showing me different things. So I'm glad to see it, and now that I know I can just click and get some to taste, I will definitely do that. And I hope that people out there who are, whoops, my dog, who are looking for an alternative, or they're wanting to try something new that's going to be tasty, and get to a point to where they are where you are when in distribution, that they can ask for specifically, I want some rose water. Do you not have Southern Spirits? Where is it? So I want you to get to that place, and being in high demand. But I thank you so much for joining me. I thank you for sharing your story, because you have so many facets to you. It's so interesting to hear your story and hear how you are making an impact in all these different medias and venues. So thank you so much for joining me. And
Thank you.
I appreciate it. So let's go ahead and tune out, and I will just hang on in there and we'll just go ahead and close it out.